Hey, what's up? It's your boy Q Christopher, and this is Nocturnal Vibes. Tonight we have a young lady that goes by the name of Shauntay Dunbar. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're absolutely welcome, Miss Dunbar. Now, you have a plethora of, layers to you.
I do.
Now, let's start off with, where are you from, actually?
The Boogie Down Bronx.
Bronx, it's not better than Brooklyn, but it's we will take that.
Sounds like something from somebody from Brooklyn would say. Yeah, okay.
Pretty much, right?
I'll let you rock since that's where we're at.
All right, that's all. We represent Brooklyn. You know how that go, right? Well, once again, welcome to Brick and welcome to Brooklyn.
Thank you.
How often do you get to come to Brooklyn?
Not very often,
Okay.
so this is a nice treat.
That's what's up. Are
Yeah.
you afraid of Brooklyn? Like, what's the problem?
I don't really know much past the Barclay, so
Wow.
I'm learning my way around.
So you got the King's Theater, which I recently went to.
Okay.
And it's a lot of beautiful, nice little restaurants opening up, little
Yes.
storefronts. It's
You
pretty
do
cool.
have really good eats out here.
Yeah,
I will give
see?
you that.
See, I don't know
That's
about
it.
the
That's
Bronx.
all I'm
They
gonna
probably,
give you.
they probably just got Trader Joe's out there.
We
so.
tried it.
That's
Okay,
good
so we
news.
cook. Okay.
Right. See, that's the next thing. You see, y'all shopping with your food, yo. I mean, with your money, and buying groceries. Do you write about that in your book too?
I write about that in my blog.
On your blog, right? So, talk about your upbringing. Like, what's your parents' background? Are they into education? Are they hardcore educators? Are they entertainment? Like, why are you into what you're doing?
It's so funny because my parents are actually quite characters, but they just work hard every day, get up, grind, do their thing, and I think I've learned my relentless work ethic from them.
From them, yeah.
Yeah. So one thing for sure, when I say I'm going to do something, I get it done, and I don't care how long it takes. it happens.
That's
so.
that passion you was talking about.
Yeah,
earlier. All right.
because Aries are passionate people.
Very passionate. Sometimes a little annoying, but it's all good. No, I do have, I'm an Aquarius. So,
Okay.
You see that O one a little too long.
Oh, like you're.
But, Aquarius and Aries, we do,
You know, my college roommate, she is an Aquarius,
Okay.
and I call her my soulmate. Like, I love her.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
Aquarius are cool, and then my favorite person is my little nephew. He's 5. He's an Aquarius.
He's an
so,
Aquarius, okay.
y'all all
That's
right
what's
with
up.
me for now.
We good. We cool.
Keep the same energy.
Yeah, that's what it is. Keep the same energy. But getting back to you and your childhood.
Yeah.
So what made you decide over the years, like, you wanted to get into, I want to say public service, if you may.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So I've always liked writing. I've done it since I was a kid, always writing like short stories. I write poetry a lot.
Okay.
So
You got something for us tonight?
I do a little spoken word. I got some bars. But I didn't honestly like really focus on my writing until like a couple years ago. I used to just do it for fun.
Okay.
Have like journals of things that I used to write, and it wasn't until after I graduated college and I started working for a publishing company, and I started trying to figure out what my passion really was. Because, when you work for somebody for a long time, you see how their businesses grow, and
Absolutely.
you're like, what am I doing for
Absolutely.
myself? Yeah. So I finally decided to do something for myself, and it just so happened to tell my dating life story. All of it.
All of it. The ups and the downs.
The ups and the downs,
Which brings you to your expertise
Yes.
in a relationship.
Yes, because experience is the best teacher.
100%, yeah.
I think
But
so.
I want to tell you that relationship sucks.
No,
So let's just start there.
It doesn't.
It
It's perspective.
Yeah, I guess. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It is, but if you are with someone or you find someone that is willing to do the work with you, it doesn't even feel like work.
I agree.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I don't want to say your relationship, but the relationships you've dealt with in the past to come up with, the thoughts in your book. If you may, what was the strangest, most weirdest relationship you've been in?
The strangest? Oh, gosh, I don't even. There's so many.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are you attracting? I don't know.
That's what it was,
Okay.
because there's a lot of self-realization
Okay.
in the book, let me tell you. But the funniest one, so in the book I have characters, the different guys, I name them different things according to their personalities.
Interesting.
So the one I'm going to tell you about is called Applebee's King. And
Wait. I already know where this is going, but go ahead.
so he came up. He lived down south. He came up. This is my first time going out with a complete stranger. Usually I meet somebody through somebody,
This
or I
is
know
on the
somebody
internet.
from
You
somewhere.
swipe right or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like one of those kind of things. And he came up, and he had no plan, which I cannot stand. Like, you can't ask me on a date and then not have a plan for the date. Don't ask
Why
me on a
not? We
date
can't
and be
just
like,
walk and find
what
a
you
spot.
want to do? What you want to do? You could do that if you know the area. Then you could fall into something, and I think that's sweet. But to just come all the way up here and have like no plan, so I like kind of planned the whole thing. And I was just like, all right, well, you want to go to the movies? And he's like, yeah. Go to the movies. He falls asleep in a movie theater.
Wow.
He's snoring. His breath was disrespectful.
Wow.
Then we leave the theater, and he tried to pretend like he was awake the whole time, and he wasn't. And then he sees Applebee's, and he's like, oh, you got an Applebee's around here? And I was just like, oh, my God. No shade to Applebee's,
serious?
but, I mean, really, who gets excited about Applebee's?
A kid that's somebody like a little kid that sees McDonald's pretty much.
Exactly.
Driving past Mickey D.
Now you got McDonald's money.
Right.
So we go to Applebee's. He's like trying to control like the whole order. Oh, you want this 2 for $20? These are really good deals. You like chicken and pasta? Because we could get this 2 for $20. We're ordering like lemonade or something like that. And he's
Trying to
like,
make sure he got enough in his
yeah,
pocket.
these are free refills, right? And I'm just like, huh. So what happened was, long story short, spoiler alert, I ended up just like, trying to have small talk. And I said, you are really in shape. Like, I was like, but I thought you looked bigger online. I thought you were like scary big, but you're like a good size big. And his whole body like just sulked like I had insulted him. And he was like, usually women just compliment me or whatever, my eyelashes and stuff. They always talk about eyelashes. And then he was like, yeah, because,
really, bro? Eyelashes?
Right. And then he was like, but, and I used to strip. Like, it wasn't a big deal. And I was like, I was like, what? You used to what? And he was like, yeah, I was a stripper. And I asked him, I was like, well, what was your stripper name? And he said, Big Tasty. And I choked on my lemonade. So
Spit it out.
waiter had to come. It
Clean
was
up the
like
mess. Wow.
tears was coming out of my eyes. I'm like, you know how when you choke when you were little and your family's like, put your hands up, put your hands up. I'm like, dying. And yeah, I told him, I was like, listen, I was like, my body is very attracted to your body. I was like, but when you speak, my brain hurts. I can't do it. And it just went right over his head. And that was the last time.
Still didn't get it.
No.
Now, how do you avoid dates like that? It's trial and error, right?
It's trial and
You
error.
gotta sit through the date and find out
But you know what?
if his name is Big Tasty.
You should ask that first.
Right. Do you strip?
Do you strip?
What's your stripper name? Yeah.
How many compliments do you get on your eyelashes? Nothing.
Now, that's an interesting one.
Right?
Especially when the ladies are adding eyelashes. Like,
Yeah.
come on,
And I'm just like, really? All right, well, there's so many
bro.
other things
He might
to
be
talk
in the
about.
mirror a little longer than you.
Yeah, he's
Look like
pretty.
that.
He was very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Too pretty.
Too pretty. Well, you swipe right, so maybe that's what you want.
That's what happened. See? You got to go for substance.
Substance, I feel that. So, what advice would you give someone, going on a first date or going on a date that, they swipe right?
Yeah.
What to look out for?
I would just say have a list of questions of things that, you really want to know. You don't have to dig deep on the first date. Like, what were your childhood traumas? Like, how was your dad around? Like, you don't have to do all of that on the first date. It's about having fun, enjoying yourself, getting a feel for their personality.
Yeah.
And you don't have to feel obligated to stay for the whole date. And I think that's where a lot of dates go wrong, because you can tell already, like, we're not meshing, this is not working, and you try to force yourself to do something you don't want to. And your time is valuable, so, be careful who you give it to.
True. Facts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about you go on a date,
Okay.
gentleman doesn't have any money,
Okay.
and you only find that out once you get there. How do you
you
deal
read
with
the
something
book?
like that? Oh, that's in the book?
Ha 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 ha. Oh, yes. Well, It depends on the situation, right? Because if you're hitting me with a surprise pocket pat down with the you got $20,
People still do that. People do that for real.
They
Wow.
do that. They do that. Like the first time I can understand maybe a mistake or whatever. But the second time now I'm like, all right, this is intentional. You're doing a lot.
And this is 2019 because they got Apple Pay on your phone. So
There's so many ways. So many. Even if you're short, you could call a friend and be like, can
Cash
you
out me real quick, yeah, bro.
I really like her. Could you just
For real, right?
I don't want to reveal my brokenness just yet.
Just hit me with the $50. I hit you back on Friday, bro.
Right. Next payday.
You keep checking your phone every 5 minutes.
Like, did you want more water?
Right.
Did you?
Let's go back to Applebee's.
Right.
Right, because this is too expensive.
Right, exactly. So, yeah. I always say that women should always have, like, that stash. Just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also when it comes to, women wanting to pay, if a woman throws out there a check and say, I'll take care of it, sometimes I'll be like, all right, cool. Not because I don't have it.
Right.
Because I think it's sexy. I think
Yeah.
that's a turn on when a woman wants to do it. I can tell whether if it's something genuine or I could tell whether that you're just doing this because you pay for this $100 meal, but you want me to pay for, $500 weave or something. Manipulation. And
Who are these women?
I don't know.
Is this Brooklyn?
They're from the Bronx.
It's Brooklyn.
They're from the Bronx. They're crossing the bridge and they're giving you problems.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't have a problem paying after a while. Like, I have to get to know you a little bit before my money starts coming out. I gotta feel comfortable with the situation. But most guys, when we go on dates, they don't. Even if I always offer, because, New York is expensive.
It is.
But most of the time they get insulted.
If you offer?
Yeah, if I reach for it or if I say, I got it. And they're like, no, put your money away.
Who you going on dates with? People from Brooklyn?
I don't know what's happening.
No, I mean, I do think it's sexy. I do think it's cool that a woman would like to pick up a tab. Yeah.
But that's not something you allowed to do often.
Not at all.
Oh.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, not at all. If I'm taking you out, I expect to take care of everything.
Right.
But yeah, if it's cool to say, hey, let me take care of this. Or even invite me out.
Right. I think, that's what I'm saying. Like, whoever invites the person out on a date should be okay
Sometimes
with paying.
Sometimes these ladies, you'd be like, they'll invite me out, but still want me to pay.
Oh, no. See, no.
How does that work?
No, that doesn't work. That's not cool. You gotta show some reciprocity there.
Some sort of balance.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
When you started writing this book, how long did it take you?
It took me 6 months to write it.
6 months.
Yeah, to get all my thoughts out, to have it organized, to have a nice flow to it, because I just really went in chronological order, because in the beginning of the book, I talk about when I was married briefly, and then I ended up getting an annulment. So the diving in Stilettos first is me diving back into the dating pool of New York City.
Okay.
So that's kind of where the book starts, where I left the marriage. And so it was hard because I didn't even write about anything about the marriage. I just jumped into the dating, and like my mom was reading it, and then I had a couple of friends read it, and then my content editor, she read it, and everybody said the same thing, like, you have to tell the story from the beginning. Like, we have to know why you're diving back. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. Who cares? It's in the past. And they're like, no, you got to tell the story. And when I finally decided to open up and share the little bit that I did share, it made the story flow a lot better. And you got more of an understanding of my personality and my actions in the book. So, yeah, 6 months. I was on a roll. I had a lot to say.
So you were dating, like, serial dating? You were just swiping right all? Like, how did this go down?
No, honestly, like, it was, like, over a span of, like, 5 years of dating in this book. So, like, after the annulment, which was so bad of me to do, I, like, maybe 2 months of freedom, I got right back into another relationship, because I'm, like, a relationship person. Like, I'm not usually, like, out here just dating. So, I started dating someone that I used to date back in like grade school, which
That was a mistake.
what people in your past for a
Leave them in
reason.
the past, right?
Leave them there.
This girl told me that one time.
Yeah.
I was like, well, go ahead then.
Like, bye.
Deuces.
Yeah, not everybody deserves to come back. Not everybody has grown and matured and flourished the way you have. Some people are really like stuck in their ways, and that's what happens. So that kind of, it goes into chapter 1, and we talk about that guy. And then after that, it's another blast from the past. But then you have that nostalgic blast from the past that like, oh, that's my first love. And I was like, you know, like, oh, this got to be good. This is probably meant to be. It's like the universe. And it's like, oh, no.
Nope.
You're a mess, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like individuals my age and this generation, well, let's just say this new generation, the millenniums, if you may. I don't know if they know about dating or relationships. And I want to say relationships across the board. That's with, you know, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, even your parents, your family members, you know, siblings.
Yeah.
There's a huge disconnect.
With some, I think they have a new perspective on it. I think back with my generation, it was kind of like you meet somebody, you like them, you say that's your boyfriend or whatever, you fall in love, you get married, you have kids, whatever. You know, like that usual, like, go to school, get a good job, like that kind of thing. Whereas these, the millennials are now like, they're talking, then they're dating a little bit, then they're dating exclusively, then it's...
So you're saying there's steps?
There's
they're actually
steps
taking steps
to it for some. Some just jump, you know, from one step to the next. Some, you know, and I think that's the millennials created that situationship term, right? Like, we're going to do everything like boyfriend and girlfriend, but don't dare call me your boyfriend or girlfriend.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. See?
Is that bad?
I want to help you.
Is that bad?
I'm going to
I'm going to have to have a one-on-one session.
That's funny.
Relationship
that
Chronicles. It gets expensive. No problem. I got you. Cash out. At Applebee's. I got you, Shawty. I got you.
2 for 20. 2 for 20.
And I'm going to look for a group on it, too.
Right. Oh, my gosh. Good times.
You said you got divorced at say an early age or early time in your marriage.
Yeah, I had just turned 30.
Okay.
So I got the news like 2 days after my 30th birthday that he didn't want to have any more children. He already had one from a previous relationship, and I don't have any. So he knew at 30 I would want to start trying to have kids, and I guess he had to come to terms and truth with himself and finally confess that's not something he wanted to do. I would have loved for him to confess all of this before we even, you know, began the relationship in the first place. But, you know, sometimes people think that they're supposed to do something by a certain age. Like, I guess he didn't want to be maybe the old man in the club, and I was a good girl, and it was just kind of like, yeah, this works. Like, she's cool, we get along, we love each other. Like, yeah, this is the next step. But then deep down, that's not what you really want. And I have to say that is growth, because I was very angry for a long time.
Real growth.
And, you know, now I see it. Yeah, now I get it. I forgive for it. But it's not something I would want to revisit again. Now I'm like very clear. Like, is this something you want? Like, I'm a better communicator and listener. Yeah, because sometimes, you know, you'll get in relationships and it's like it's about what you want, and you will mold this person into being what you want, and then when they're not what you expect them to be, you're highly disappointed because you're not letting them be themselves.
Yeah, and they start to react. They start to lash out.
Yeah, and they get all weird.
No, they just become them.
Yeah,
That's
but I'm the Aries, and it was like, if you just listen to me and just...
See, this is the problem.
It don't work. Like,
just listen to you, right? Yeah. I get it. When it comes to I had a question for you, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Dealing with an individual who has a mental health illness in a relationship. Any tips?
I think you have to be a really strong person to be able to handle something like that. I think before you can honestly commit to it, you should definitely know your strengths and your weaknesses, because the last thing you want to do is be someone that kind of harms the situation or makes it worse, or there's a chance that it could affect you so bad that it changes you and makes you worse. So it's a matter of really knowing yourself. I mean, I know for me personally, I don't know if I would be able to handle something like that because of the fragile state that I'm in right now. And you understand, building a brand and just
takes away.
Yeah, and it's I don't have that time or attention to give someone who may really need that from me. So for me, I would probably not be so quick to jump into something like that. But for those who do, you love this person, you want to help them get better, by all means, but just know yourself. And I would say definitely make sure you understand their illness. Don't just think you know better than the doctors. Really research and talk with them and see how they handle it on their own. Because you don't want to be with someone who depends on you too much, because that's hard.
It is hard. It can be draining. It can be take away from everything that you're doing, everything that you're working hard for. And the thing is, the kind person that you are, you want to make sure that this individual is still good, no matter what. But sometimes you got to be selfish.
Yeah.
You got to be selfish.
You do. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nah, not at all.
No.
One of my sayings is self-care and self-love are not selfish.
Yep.
So you got to attend to yourself. You got to make sure you're good before you.
I always say you can't get from an empty cup, and I think the airplane example is the best. Put your mask on before
anyone else. Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely. Any tips on rejection in a relationship?
Rejection. I mean, that's not an easy it's not an easy thing to do, but I mean, just being realistic about it, knowing that everything is not gonna go your way, or you're not always gonna get the result that you may want. It doesn't mean that you have to change the goal. Maybe you have to change, your tactic, or maybe step up your communication game about it. But you have to allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling, and you have to dig deep and try to find out, why am I hurt so bad by this? Is it because this person told me no, or is this triggering something from, So it's just
soul searching.
Yeah, and a lot of times, it's more so you than them. Yeah. So once you figure that out,
once you figure out the common denominator, it sucks. Yeah, it sucks.
So bad. Yeah.
When you, I have so many questions for you. It's just rambling through my head. In a relationship, someone cheats on you, and you guys happen to get back together.
Yeah.
Trust. Any good tips on regaining trust?
You have to want to.
Yeah.
That's basically all it is. When you forgive, you have to forgive wholeheartedly. And you can't keep, bringing things up when somebody didn't wash the dishes, and it's did you tell that to wash the dishes? You can't do that.
That little thing turns into something.
Yeah, and it's for me, I think with something so big, and it's gonna sound crazy, you definitely have to forgive and forget. Try to forget, because you could break a plate and glue it back together. It'll never be the same plate, but it's not that you can't use it, So it's not an easy thing, but you definitely have to want to. You both have to want
to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And not only that, you both have to want to be in a relationship, period.
Yeah.
Even if, no one has cheated or anything like that, but some people are just in a relationship just to pass time, and then one person likes the other more than the other, and then it's just not a good look.
No, it should be a good balance.
Yeah, some decent kind of balance. When I see you, I want to smile and be happy, and vice versa.
Yeah, like you don't want somebody like you're happy in the relationship and they're just looking at you like you're annoying. Right. Why are you laughing all the time? Right. I've heard that. Somebody actually said that you're always happy. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, does that bother you? Right. This will never work because I'm always happy. So
like, imagine that, yo. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Let's get to some dating tips.
Dating tips.
I like to hold the door open sometimes.
Not all the time?
Not all the time because women don't say thank you. They don't acknowledge. They just in their phone and they just keep walking. Straight up.
Well, I mean, you can't let that affect.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm joking. But literally, like I can open the door for a young lady.
Yeah, a lady. A lady would appreciate that. Like, a lady appreciates a gentleman who knows how to walk on the right side of the street. You know, like, that's important. I love a man who knows how to open the door and pull out a chair. And, you know, like, they're small things, but it's a level of sensitivity, and it just shows, like, all right, he's aware, and he's protective of me. Like,
so he has to open the car door for you as well?
Yes.
He like that, but he doesn't have to do that.
He doesn't have to. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'm a little fast. I'm a New Yorker. I'm just like, let's get there. We gotta go. We're late. We're usually late. We're late. But, you know.
Do you reach over and open that?
See, that part, I don't know. Who made that up?
See, look at that. You get in the car, you can't even open the door.
Who made that up? The point of the woman.
And it's a Bronx tale. How about that? You're not even opening the door.
No.
You ain't no real Bronx girl.
I'm being a lady. I'm going to sit pretty and wait for you to get in the car, and we're going to resume our conversation. I'm not reaching and being all weird trying to get the door. Yeah. What if the door is heavy?
No, I'm sitting there like. You just unlock. You don't have to pull the handle.
I can unlock it, sure, but I'm not reaching and pushing and all of that. Nah.
Back in the days, we probably had to, but now you could probably open it with your phone. You know?
See, nobody has to do it. Like, Alexa, open the door.
Mm-hmm. Right. The way this world is going. So get them to this whole dating situation. Mm-hmm. It is a situation. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Can be.
But I'd rather date than I can date and go out on dates, and whenever I want to.
Okay.
If you're in a relationship, that's real expensive. You got to take them out all the time. You got to take her to get her hair and nails done to go out on the dates. What's up with that? Just be natural. Just all natural. See, you got that natural going on.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But still, though, you can offer sometimes. You're like, you see me struggling. I'm sitting here. You're like,
give me your nails. So my biggest thing is if you ask me for nothing, I give you the world.
That's usually how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it should work. You want people to offer. I think as an independent woman, there are ways to be independent without shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
So it's like he should know that you got it and you can handle it if you need to handle it, but he should want to do it for you.
Yeah.
So that means a lot.
With the first date, is it okay to have sex on the first date?
You want to. I mean, my thing is like we're adults, and you have to know yourself again. You have to know, how am I when I have sex with somebody? Do I get clingy? Am I stage 5 clingy? I'm calling like, hey, I miss you. I love you. Let's get married. Let's have babies.
Right.
Or are you like, okay, I enjoyed this moment. This is what it is. This is a cool time, and you have to be okay with whatever the end result is. So if he never calls again, you can't want to jump off a bridge. You got to be like, all right, it was what it was. Right. We had a good time, the end. Or it could blossom into something amazing, like different strokes for different folks. Yeah. Like, no judgment. You're an adult. Just, be safe about it and, know how to handle yourself.
I like that. Do you believe in love at first sight?
I do. I'm a hopeless romantic.
For real?
Yeah, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm always like, maybe. And then I'm a writer, so my imagination is always like, I'll just be in the coffee shop.
Getting your Nancy Drew.
Yeah, we'll both reach for the cup, and it'll be amazing. We're like, you like caramel macchiatos too? It's meant to be. Cheers. I think of those things all the time. I think it's sweet. I mean, but I mean, if you want to get real about it, like the first thing you notice about someone is whether you're like physically attracted to them versus like you don't sit there and think like, wow, they look like they really know math. Like, you know, it's like.
Yeah. When girls tell me like, yeah, I like them for their personality, and I said, so you mean to tell me that was the first thing you saw when you saw them?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, what's their person? No, you did.
You did.
It's something that attracted to you. I'm not trying to say they had to be, some sort of model, or they could look like a chicken for all you care, but as long as you're attracted to them.
Right, right.
That's
they
all
have
that
some
matters.
kind of essence. There's something about their aura that kind of draws you in, and you're captivated, and you want to get to know this person. But to really think that somebody's just like, oh, he's got a great personality, and I just knew it. Like, you don't know. Stop it.
We had a couple of laughs, and he's a great guy.
Right, right, exactly. So
it takes it takes a while to get to know people, individuals.
And you have to want to take the time. Like, stop trying to rush things and thinking you have people figured out. Like, there's so many layers to people. There's people who've been married for like 20 plus years, 30 years, and they're still knowing each other. Like,
you know what I've learned throughout relationships, that people will tell on themselves.
Oh yeah.
In a relationship.
Oh yeah.
Just sit back and watch.
Listen.
9 times out of 10 they're telling on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But we're so sometimes caught up in the infatuation, the lust, and all of that. We're so blinded by that.
Yeah.
What they're really doing. But yeah, people usually tell.
Yeah, because like when you first start dating someone, everybody's putting their best foot forward.
Right.
I can never say that without getting all tongue-tied.
Best foot forward.
Best foot forward. And, they say it takes about maybe 3 months, 90 days, whatever it is, to like really start to crack the surface of who they really are. And then it's like, if they've been trying to keep up this facade, even after a while, like they get tired, and then you're looking at them like, wait a minute, who are you? And they're like, it's been me. And it's like, no, this person's different. I didn't sign up for this. Yeah. So I always say, like, when I do meet somebody, I hope that they're as genuine as I am. Like I said, reciprocity is just such a big thing. Mm-hmm. And, just being honest just goes a long way. Like, just be who you are. Like, why are you pretending to be something that you're not? Because you're eventually going to get tired, and I'm going to find out, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, I feel the same way, especially dating, like, or, you meet somebody, you want to have sex, and that's all you want, just be straight up. And that's usually how I am. Just, this is what I want from this. If it goes... my feelings change overnight or next time, then so be it.
Right.
But at this very moment, this is what I want with it. Are you cool with it?
Right.
Sometimes they say yeah.
It's worked a few times.
Even if they say yeah,
right.
They're probably not telling the truth.
No. Because some people are just trying to be that cool person. Like, I really like this person, and I want them to like me like this, so I'm just going to pretend to go along with whatever they say because then they'll like me more. And then, like, it's like, no, be who you are. If that makes you uncomfortable, you can say, like, all right, well, thanks for sharing that.
Speaking of being who you are, I'm a cool cat, cool dude, and I do attract many women. Yeah. But sometimes, I'm too kind, so they kind of take it in another way, mixed signals. I'm too friendly, and I'll tell them straight up, like, no, this is all a friendship situation. This is what I want from this. And this one specific woman just kept pressing.
She thought she could change you.
What's up with that?
It's bad.
Horrible.
So bad.
Because I really feel like you should want somebody that wants you. You know what I mean? Like, that's the big picture here.
Yeah, and some people think, like, some people are about that struggle of, I don't know why. Love should not be a struggle. It should not be synonymous with struggle. But some people just don't know how to accept honesty. And, sometimes they've dealt with people who just lie so much to come across somebody who's actually being genuine and honest. They don't know how to handle it. So she's probably like, that can't be true. Like,
I know you like me. Like,
it's me. Like, what do you mean? And you're like being so honest. So,
man,
I've started to learn that too, like over the years, like when men say certain things, that's usually what they mean. Yeah, not unless, you know, he's some kind of manipulator or whatever. But for good guys, good, genuine good guys, they mean what they say.
Yeah.
And they're not trying to like lead you on and, you know, make you think something is what it isn't. So.
Yeah, and then not only that, you got to keep up with the lies if you're telling them lies. And it's a lot of work.
Exactly.
I'd rather just be upfront. And if you call me and say, hey, are we hanging out tonight? Nah, I might just chill. All right, well, you're probably going to see somebody else, probably. But they hate it, but they still end up connecting, you know?
You gotta respect the honesty. You gotta.
Pretty much.
Right, but the thing is like, so if men do that, when women do it, are you still okay with that?
I love that.
Oh, that's
I'm
good,
okay
because
with
some
that,
of them,
yeah.
some of you guys have
I
like
love
double
that.
standards.
No. It makes no sense to me. It doesn't make no sense if I felt that way, yeah.
That's
I would
good.
love the fact that she want to do what she want to do. Tell me now I'm chilling with this person, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to be explicit, you know, or I'm doing something else, I'm having company or something. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm busy.
Yeah, you know, but nothing explicit.
Yeah.
Like, nah, somebody come and blow my back out. I can't talk to you tonight. None of that. You know, I know.
Whoopsie, I gotta go.
Yeah, I ain't able with that.
Funny.
So, self-care, self-love are not selfish. What do you do for Shauntay?
What do I do for Shauntay? So recently, I started bike riding.
Word.
Yeah.
I started scootering.
Oh, see? Scoot. That's what you know, it's just me and the bike. Sometimes I go out with my sis and we'll like ride around and, you know, usually like even at the end of the book, I started running. So that was the thing that I got into. My self-care is always something to do with fitness because my goal is always to be my best me. And when I'm, you know, being healthy, I feel healthy like all around, like not just physical health, but spiritual, emotional, mental, like everything just feels up and it's good. So right now I'm just biking. I'm about to do the Tour de Bronx next month. So that's,
nice.
I'm doing 25 miles. I just did 18.7. You can't forget the 0.7. It's important. Every mile
Count
counts.
everything.
And yeah, it's just me, my music, and, you know, I feel accomplished, especially when I've gone up like a crazy hill and then I just get to go down and just enjoy the wind. It's therapeutic.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
So it's like biking and, of course, writing. I love writing out my feelings. So, yeah.
I need to. I don't like the city bikes. That's the bikes you use?
No.
Okay.
I brought my own bike.
Those city bikes are
I'm
kind
a
of
little
heavy.
germaphobe. Yeah.
I thought about that too. Even the scooters. Like I don't even use the hoodies, the helmets.
Yeah. I don't.
Nah. Somebody told me put a do-rag on and then put the helmet on. But I don't know. I don't think.
I
have
just
to
get your own.
get my own or get into an accident.
Yeah,
and
be
start
careful.
using it.
Yeah, that's it. I have to get a helmet. I know there's people who's watching. Yes, I'm gonna get a helmet. I promise. But you know, I have hair and I have. I like my baseball cap. I put my baseball cap on and
I'm not
I
even
go.
gonna say anything because I don't wear helmets. Too, they come in
I'm on a
after.
bike path, but I have to get one for the tour because it's required. So I'm gonna find something cute, I guess.
Some cute. You should put some green stilettos on it.
Oh yeah, right.
On
A little slapping on the side.
There you go.
Watch me go.
Watch it. Right, the stilettos.
It's funny.
Hilarious. Listen, you are a big, magnificent person.
Thank you.
Your personality is pretty dope.
Thank you.
I guess the fact that you are Aries and Aquarius kind of mesh well.
They do.
According to horoscope.
They do.
And I would like to see how much more books you come out with, and you know all the stories you have in store for us. How much more advice, dating tips, and relationship expert tips.
Yeah.
If you may.
I have my blog, Tales from the Single Relationship Expert.
Okay. So wait, are you single now?
I am single now.
Okay.
And so I write about, you know, my weekends, outings, different dating situations. So that kind of keeps people a little more current on what's going on in my life right now. Because like I said, this book is probably from like 2011 up until 2016, I would say. Because then I published it in 2017.
Okay.
So now you get to see my growth and, you know, just know me, because even the girl that I write about in the book is not the woman that's, sitting here, know?
Okay.
So it's like always growing and learning and just getting better. So the blog will keep you updated until I, get the courage to write another book. Because I put all my business out there.
Everything is out there?
Everything is out there. So
you're going to have to find out some more.
Build up to do that again. That was a lot.
So what if someone wanted to ask you on a date, what would or how would they have to approach you?
Oh, I think they would just have to ask me.
They can come in your DMs too.
Straightforward. I don't really like DMs.
So what's the difference between a DM and the swiping right to left?
I don't do
Instagram,
online dating anymore.
Okay.
I don't do online dating anymore. I felt like it was a job. It was like really intense. But, obviously I tell people now, like, take your time with it. It's no pressure. There's no rush. You don't have to have 20 swipes a day. Like, take it casually. That's the beauty of online dating because it's at your leisure.
Right.
I was like, but I personally like meeting people organically. So I'm like always out and like networking, and I like to have that familiar presence with someone before I spend that kind of time with them.
Gotcha.
Whereas online is just kind of like you're talking, and then you're like maybe FaceTime or, so with online dating, I always usually recommend just going like to coffee or something easy, something where you have an escape. Just in case you need it.
Have you ever asked one of your girls to text you and say that you have an emergency on your dates? For real? I thought that was only in the movies. Wow.
Yeah.
For real?
Hell yeah.
I'm going to start doing that.
I'm like, this is not working. I was like, check on me in half an hour. And then sometimes it's like, I'm good, girl. And then sometimes it's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
And then never come
back.
back.
I'm like, I can't do it.
Wow.
They're like, run. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, listen, I got to go. It's an emergency. Next time. Thank you so much. This was great.
Wow.
Because I give it a half an hour to kind of process things, and I don't want them spending ridiculous money, because the last thing you want is, someone getting in their feelings about spending ridiculous money. But, just the price you pay, you ask somebody out. You gotta,
Right. Yeah,
it is what it is, but I don't like to waste people's time. That's the thing that's more important to me, the time. So I don't want to waste mine, so I don't want to waste yours.
When does Netflix and chill come into play? Like what, the 25th date?
Netflix and chill. That is a privilege to come
That's
to
a
my
privilege.
home.
You hear that?
I was really think you're cool people to have you
right.
like come to my house. Yeah, that's huge, because I'm very hospitable. So for people to come to my home, I'm like, I want to make you as comfortable as possible. So if I'm taking the time to go all out and be that for you, and you don't have good intentions, like I'm gonna find out and it's gonna show. Like,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
If the date is at your home and you invite me to your home, what should I bring?
Well, I would say wine, but I work for a wine magazine, so I have plenty of wine.
A good gesture, something.
I would say a dessert.
Okay.
Like, I'm like a cupcake. I shouldn't eat them, but they're so good. I love sweets, so any kind of like baked good. And I'm not talking. Do not come to my house with no Entenmann's anything, because I would be completely insulted.
Yeah, we got Junior's cheesecake right up the block.
Well, Junior's is
that's good. It's a good
Junior's
look.
is always a good thing.
It's a good thing.
But yeah, I think like just even asking, I think is just really, really nice. Like, because most times I'll be like, no, I'm fine. I don't need anything. But if you really want to like impress me, bring me a cupcake. And I'm like, what? How'd you know Red Velvet was my favorite? You better stop.
Red Velvet is still around?
Yeah. I ain't going nowhere. That's a classic.
Is it?
Yeah.
Isn't it like just chocolate with red?
Do not be disrespectful to the red velvet.
Coloring.
Okay, there's technique.
I remember that it came out in 2000 maybe, and people going crazy for it.
Red Velvet has been around for. You know how I got introduced to Red Velvet? Do you remember Cake being Raven?
Yep, right on Fulton. You're not too far from it.
That's how I got hooked on it. Cake Man Raven.
I don't know where he at now though.
I don't know either. I hope his cakes are around somewhere. I haven't had them in a long time, but yeah, that was good.
It's good.
Good baked goods.
Shauntay Dunbar, I want to thank you for stopping by and chopping it up with me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. This was fun.
Welcome.
I wish you tons of success.
Thank you.
This is a great show.
Thank you very much.
You're
I want to
welcome.
tell the people where they can find you and get all your relationship tips, your dating advice, all that good stuff.
So for more, you can check out my website, divinginstilettosfirst.com. I'm also on Instagram, diving_in_stilettos_first. And I'm also on Twitter, dive, the letter N, stilettos, and the number 1. So
Cool beans.
I'm everywhere.
Yeah,
You can just
everywhere.
Google me. I always love to say that, right? First time. Google me.
On Nocturnal Vibe. Yeah. Also tell the young ladies out there, who's probably struggling with current relationship or trying to figure things out. Give them some good advice.
Do what's gonna make you happy. Think about the things that make you feel good throughout the day. And if you're not doing any of those things, you really need to reevaluate and get it together, girl, because no one's gonna make you happy the way you make yourself happy. So you can't get from an empty cup. So
Yeah. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
This is Nocturnal Vibes. I'm your host, Q Christopher. I want to thank you once again for tuning in, and shout out to Shauntay Dunbar. Keep doing what you do, love. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
This is Nocturnal Vibes.
Bye, everybody.